Ooh, you can turn the volume up. It's a little bit creepy. Oh, yeah, I'm not sure whether it's going to. Okay. What are you kidding me? What is it? Okay, it's supposed to like loop after that and kind of blink again and go back to the first thing. Okay, so all of those layers that you see moving around, so they're all painted like different layers in watercolor, and kind of put it, clean them up in Photoshop and put them in After Effects to animate. Okay. Um, then there's like patterns. So that's what I did with my full-time job in New York at a textiles company. This is also my personal work. Obviously, their work is under like a non-disclosure agreement, so I cannot share that. But these are like some of the patterns I did, and so kind of like you can see, illustration has like diverse applications. Okay, so when it comes to like design type, motion, illustration obviously forms like a little part of it. I'll go back to the main illustration tab in a little bit. So let me show you how. Okay, let's look at this. So a lot of these patterns are part of my master's thesis, where I was looking at kind of raising awareness for animal conservation through surface design. So another, like I guess more of the industry term for patterns is surface design. Okay? So here you can see these are all endangered coral species, which before my thesis I did not know was a thing. They're kind of like getting bleed, so that's what kind of like where I used pen and ink. You see, also all of these things they're kind of done by hand. Okay, so pen and ink, strokes, and then these are just like vector shapes in illustration. So with my artwork, I combine traditional and digital. And most of the way I used digital is as a tool to help me move kind of enhance my traditional work. So same thing with here. So with patterns, it's like you have a main and then you have coordinates. Okay. So think of it like if this was bedding, okay, this would be like the bed sheet. So you have the stars to show, and these could be kind of like, let's say, pillow covers, or it could be upholstery, curtains could be things so quiet or simple. So even this is like a species of penguin. We have little fishes here. These are based on waves in the ocean, so kind of also from the abstract form. And here, so kind of do mock-ups to actually show the application of that illustration. So just put it on clothing here. So so this is the way kind of work coordinates work. Okay. Let's go back and then show you. Maybe maybe this one. You guys can like point out anything you want me to show you. Okay? So again, main one are coordinates, and I just applied them a lot of like clothing. And then you have colorways. So kind of with patterns, especially, do have to work with different colors. I'm sure you must have seen that in a real life. Like if you go to a store, to buy clothing, whatever, so if you don't like the color of one thing, there may be other options with the same pattern. So that's how it works. Okay. So, when I say surface design, so this is what it means, that it's supposed to kind of go on surfaces like that. Okay. And then, of course, you have the huge children's market. Okay. So obviously, kids love drawings and illustrations. So let's say the penguins, again, endangered species of penguins from around the world. So I gave them kind of like fun colors, and it's like, kind of made a back to school collection for kids. So you have like backpacks, water bottles, okay? And again, main and coordinates. So I have like this abstract kind of thing made of fishes, and then these are made of mountain forms, from Antarctica. We have a couple of backpacks. Yeah, these. Yeah, I really like this. So kids bedding is like a huge market for that. Just quickly show you these. So, again, like I said, mail and coordinates for bedding things. And then I have like, well, it's technically not a different colorway, but it's, kind of the same icons. We can reuse them for that. Let's see. So again, kids bedding kind of, and I also use them as wallpaper. So that's another, market in itself, like interiors. So kind of mark this up as wallpaper. Yeah. So you see right there. So you also have upholstery, so like the cushions there, a one pattern, and the statement. So that's like one thing. Let's see. Okay, let me show you this. Okay, so this one. And we'll take a look at that. So this was done in collaboration with two friends, but it's basically kind of designing like a masthead for a magazine newsletter sort of thing that's posted. So it's for AARP. It's a company in the US that kind of, for the older generation, like 50, 55 plus, kind of to provide them support, insurance, things like that. So, and these are spot illustrations we did. So this one, for example, kind of signifies financial health. That's where it goes on their website. So this one was more for medication. And few of them were kind of like, so this is not necessarily illustration. It goes from an illustration to more like iconography. So you kind of have the whole set of things that kind of goes from their website masthead to, let's say, a little spot illustration that goes to, the, I don't know what you call them, but those little, okay, suggested things for whatever website. And then even like this, and then these here would probably, kind of like translate into things on the app, because you have like smaller and a virtual real estate, but it's an app on the phone. And same as that, these were murals did for a dog spa. Again, with like a few other friends, we kind of chose well. So these are individual cabins, and the brief was to create like a very zen space for them. And so they were like, very limited color palettes, and they didn't actually want any dogs there, so it was just like an idea of putting very tranquil landscapes behind on the walls. So this was like, adjoining pens. So if there were like two dogs, the same owner brought them in. So there was like a little doorway between the two pens that the two dogs kind of go through. So my mural kind of continues from one to the other, like that. And then there's like the standalone one. So this is what it actually looks like, just a glass door and the dogs kind of sleep in there. And this was another, so this is, kind of like the proposed thing. And then it was simplified down to this concept. So that's how it looks there. I'm not sure whether I have the pictures of this one or even completed ones, but yeah, this was drawing out. Yeah, they're just work in progress. So this was like the design I kind of showed them for approval, and then work on site in progress. Yeah, I don't have a completed picture. Okay. There's kind of like filling up a whole panel like that, and it included hand lettering and all of they're like food in neon colors. So that's kind of like those things. So here I want you guys to pick a couple that you want me to talk about. I'm gonna scroll down, okay? Okay, somebody has to volunteer. I need you guys to speak up.
Hello?
Yes. Yeah, go on.
Ma'am, I would like to see the V, the illustration.
Mm, the what? Sorry. Me?
V.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so this is done entirely in watercolor. Okay. This was, so I was just thinking of this one a few weeks back, or like, a couple of months back, I don't know. And it seemed so relevant, kind of like looking at, the news from Italy when the pandemic happened and the lockdown happened. That people were, kind of like singing and dancing in the balconies. And I'm like, oh, I've been there like years ago. So, yeah, like I said, my background was architecture. So I really like drawing things in isometric when I can. The tasks are kind of like just, open. Okay. Yeah, so it's just, everything is empty, kind of like a desolate place, and just having this guy serenading the girl. And it's all done in watercolor. I use a lot of masking fluid while doing these, and it's like layers upon layers of different tones. So, like, you see your this spot, for example, you can see the pinkish tones below the blue. So kind of like this was the pink layer I put originally, then put masking fluid on top and put the blue, like a wash of blue. I maybe what I'm saying with the terms maybe a little lost on you guys, but I'll kind of try and demo what I mean. Okay, so here, so these are value. It was like a value study I did. Then a color composition, another one, and a third one. So kind of put in the process there too. So today I'm going to take you through all of these stages which we are going to follow. Okay. So anyone else?
Mom, can you show the New York one?
The New Yorker? Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is not an actual New Yorker cover. Okay, just a disclaimer. So I like, basically the, yeah, I guess you could say like I love animals, but I try to work, towards animal conservation as much as I can. So this was one of the things that, kind of I really wanted the New Yorker to show. Well, New York, when I was living there, they had a lot of furriers. Basically, like stores that sold fur, and it really disturbed me a lot. So what I have here is kind of like this human form, it's jumping with joy, but it's actually a cage in which all these foxes are trapped. So they're very distressed. Then I kind of used the masthead, that's what the heading is called, and kind of wove that into my illustration. So that one fox on top is actually trying to break free and kind of hold on to the O for support. And yeah, I also kind of like, I like to mock up things, especially so that you can kind of like understand. So people who are not in the field do understand what the application of illustration. Okay, its illustration is commercial art, so it is meant for an end product or end use. um, most of the time. So it's not just like a painting that you put on the wall. That's one thing that kind of differentiates it from fine. Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am, the next one too.
I'm sorry, which one? I didn't get that.
The next one too. You showed.
This one to me? Okay. Yeah, this was like a personal project I did. So I saw this beautiful, image of the city in Mexico called Guanajuato, and they had like all of these little, houses. Okay, let me see if I can show you. It's really very colorful. Okay, so that's like the flat plane of the city, and it's like one of that's what the houses look like. So it's like a like a hilly area, and then you have the valley there, and the valley kind of expands out onto the hills, and so do the houses. Let's see if there's anything. Yeah, like that. Okay, see that like that. So that really inspired me to kind of so I keep doing a lot of personal projects too. Okay? So I kind of researched a bit into it, and what came out from that was there's this like local touristy thing or like legend there. So it's called El Cayón del Beso. So it is the alley of the kiss. So there, so the houses are like clustered together, right? So there's like this alley there, which is very like narrow. Okay, you have these little steps. So there are the apartments or houses there. They have these two balconies. Okay, that's almost touched. So two people could stand, there. So kind of, I guess. Okay, let me just show you better. Visuals are always better than those, right? Oh, wait, I'm writing that. Okay, so that's what I'm talking about. Okay, so there is this story that went with that. So that's the actual alley. Those are the two balconies. Okay, so right there. Okay. So it was like there was this wealthy, I guess, landowner there living in one of the houses, and he had a he had a daughter, and she kind of fell in love with this. I think he was a coal miner, so they wanted to be together, but obviously, her father wouldn't allow that. So what he did was like kind of rent the apartment opposite there, so they could just stand on the balcony and meet each other and kiss. So one day, what happened was her father saw that, and he kind of flew into a fit of rage, and I think he either killed the guy and his daughter or something like that. So basically, it kind of said. I think there's a curse over the place or something like that. But anyway, there's this whole story about that. So here we go. Okay. So I kind of wanted to incorporate, that kind of idea into this poster too. So let's start from the beginning. So on top, I just have the name of the place, of the city. Okay, and I kind of hand lettered it to kind of if you kind of search Mexican culture, they have these like really nice buntings or pendants that are paper cuts. So I kind of used the same idea and created little letters and kind of using negative space to show the legend of the Alley of the Kiss. So if you look at it like more. Okay, so First Street is obviously the hills and the city. You have the trees there on the hills, and there's like kite flying, so it kind of gives the atmosphere of the city. But on the second read, okay, so the way the human mind works is you always recognize patterns, and especially there's a term for it. I keep forgetting. Human features. Okay, so kind of recognize and it clicks that, oh, that's a face, you know, and a lot of things. So if you see, you know, like how you kind of recognize patterns of let's say, oh, you know, that cloud is a dog or that cloud is like an elephant, you know, sort of, and exactly how, you know, some people see a human face in the moon and others see this bunny with rice cakes or something. So that's how it works. So here, do you see that? Those are the two lovers kissing. Can you see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So, you know, from afar, first read is that, oh, it's just a hill and stuff, but then it's like the faces of the two of them. And you're kind of using the shapes of the buildings to, you know, form their structure. So here, the dome forms the chin and the neck, you know, underside, and the shape of the buildings kind of forms the chest, you know. It's really he's leaning over. That there is the shoulder, kind of bring it down to the shape of, you know, of the arm. That's the other arm. It doesn't have to be very clear, it's very vague, but still, you know, as long as that clicks, you know, the rest does fall in place. So that's the other arm of the girl. Okay, that's her leg, kind of forming straight. I do feel so. So, like I said, you know, you're always learning when you're doing illustration. There's no right or wrong answer. There's no perfect answer. So every time I kind of look at some of my work, I'm like, oh, I can do so much better. So even with this, I'm like, you know, I can define the values better to kind of make the form stand out. Um, Let me show you another one. So in
Ma'am,
yeah.
was there any reason like the dominance of magenta and like reddish tones in the whole composition?
Not really. So, oh, maybe, okay, hold on. You mean by magenta, do you mean all the pinks?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Not really. So, you know, when I was looking at the reference photos, okay, a lot of them had like all sorts of colors, you know, very bright and kind of just, you know, all over the place. So, the idea when you do illustration is you can take creative liberties, okay? So I kind of always when I try to do illustration, I do like to represent what is there most of the time or like pick up on that. So my first take on this was to actually, you know, make it a full color thing. Let me just see if I can find that. What I did earlier, so you get more of an. Okay, just bear with me for a minute. Okay? Yeah, you see? Hmm. Yeah, I don't think I have it on here, but okay, I'll try to explain as best as possible. So when I tried that, it became a, you know, a whole jumble of things, okay, because I was trying to follow exactly what was there. So a lot of times what looks okay or good in photos does not necessarily work for your idea or your concept. So for me, when I put that there, if it was just me showing the city, that would be fine. But because I wanted to there to be like, you know, 2 points of focus in terms of, you know, the city first and then the hill, the city was just grabbing all the attention for all the wrong reasons. So one of the, you know, the ideas when you do illustration is, you know, I've seen a lot of illustrations are just like, you know, very limited colors. So that takes away a lot of your problems when you're trying to create a focal point and trying, you know, to make the viewer feel at ease with what to look at first, what to look at next. So once I removed, you know, a lot of the other colors, I was left with a lot of the reds and pinks. And that also worked and I kind of amplified on that too, you know. I put in more reds and pinks. So you have like more of a monotonous color scheme. But obviously, you don't just want that monotony because I was also trying to show that colorful, culture of the city and what Mexico is generally known for. So that's why I kind of broke up all of that with these like teal blues, turquoise, the yellows, and the one of the reasons for picking up the pink was I found very few chances to actually work with pink tones, especially like bright fuchsias or like colors like that. So when I get an opportunity to do that, I just grab on. There's also that other thing of it. So once you start doing work, like creating a lot more artwork, you kind of you may have seen, so every a lot of illustration artists have their own unique style. Okay, I like to call it more of a unique voice, but then they also kind of start preferring a set of colors they can work with. So with me, I did start working with a lot of blues. You may see them in a lot of my work. So this was also a chance to kind of break away from. Okay, does that answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So let me show you another one. So another one I told you I won that big award for. This is that one again, kind of using the idea of negative space. So you guys understand what positive and negative space is, right?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
Yes,
no?
ma'am.
All of you? Is there anyone who doesn't understand? Okay. So, what do you guys see here? Let me just what do you guys see here?
Yes, ma'am.
No, not yes. Like, what do you see? That was the question.
Ma'am,
So,
a
yes or no answer.
lady
Really,
lady in the negative space.
Okay, exactly. So, kind of, has anyone seen the movie Memoirs of a Geisha or read the book? No? So, it's, do you know what a geisha is or who a geisha is?
No, ma'am.
I
Okay,
do.
so, yeah, go on.
I think they were Japanese escorts.
Okay, they weren't exactly escorts. It's a whole culture of like entertainment and hosting. Okay, so they basically hosted well, in the modern sense, I would say that they kind of hosted parties and took care of guests, things like that. So it's a whole culture, and they kind of went in for all of these like what we call training. So they have to learn how to dance, they have to learn how to sing, It's like a whole cultural movement that Japan saw, I think, around the time. I think it kind of ended around the time of the Second World War. It tapered off. So this book, it was like the memoirs of a geisha. So a lady who had then moved to New York after the war, and she kind of relates her whole story. I think it is fictional. Yeah, it's written by I'm sorry, it's written by English, it's a British or American author, and there's like an Oscar-winning movie that was made. So this was a class assignment too. We were supposed to design like a poster based on like a movie that we made. So then chose this, and so when you talk about the process of the thing, so let me just talk you through it. So the first thing I kind of did was research what's already in the market. So, I was looking at book covers for the book because it's pretty prolific. Okay, so and I looked at all the posters for the movie, and almost all of them showed either the geisha right there, because she's the protagonist of everything, or it was maybe abstract stuff, or it showing her face. So I wanted to kind of move away from that because that's already been done, right? So why would you just kind of repeat the same thing? Or that's what I tried to direct my thinking towards. Like you research what's already been done, and then you kind of find the gap in the market of what can be done. So I obviously had read the book through, and sometimes when you work with projects like that, information is power. So it gave me a lot of knowledge about like okay, the whole thing happens in this district called Gion. The I mean the story of the book, right? It's set in this district called Gion in Kyoto Prefecture in Japan, and Gion has a lot of these like wooden houses that have blue roofs. Okay, there is a mention of water a lot of times. You know how we have, well, not we, but like I guess Chinese culture has a lot of these elements, like, fire, water, that they kind of join with yin and yang and stuff. So Japan also has their own, system like that. So the protagonist just kind of said as having a lot of water. She doesn't like to stay stable in one place. She's always flowing like water all around. So that kind of made me decide early on that one of the ways to kind of bring that in as a meaning to the entire thing was to stick to that color scheme and make the thing more prominent. So even with all my color compositions that I work with, or color schemes, let's call them that. So I kind of chose blue to be more of a focal. So it was like, and then what happens is then you sit down to see all of these like materials that you researched, and then I sort of start writing down words to do. Okay, so like, what was it that caught my eye, or like, what is the main idea of the book that I can show? So water was one of the themes, the architecture, because most of the things happens in this district, so that's very crucial to show the protagonist and the story moving forward. Okay. Obviously, there's the whole art form of being a geisha that's there. So kind of all of those things. So I'm like kind of picking on things. So and then you start doing thumbnails, right? So thumbnails, little sketches, and you basically like word vomit but visual. Okay, whatever is in your head, just draw it down, scribble, sketch, pretty much keep the proportion of the final piece you're doing, so you don't make promises you can't keep up. So with that, I kind of came up with this idea. Oh, what if I just use, the houses to show the, the form of the geisha. So I kind of ended up moving forward with that idea and building on. Okay. So that's how I kind of came up with it. And then you have the whole thing about the value structure. Okay. Value is basically the amount of light and dark, right, that you determine in an illustration. So I kept the houses more on the dark side, and so the lighter side became actually the, kind of like a meeting place. So there was also a marketplace where the protagonist really liked to go in the book and in the movie. To kind of put that there. And then I put these little figures, so it doesn't empty and actually seems more like as a part of the scene rather than just a negative space shape. And another thing is, you can think of taking it to the next level. So geishas, they- their like get up consists a lot of times of this. This little flower on their head, see with that stuff trailing down. That's called a kanzashi. So here, this little figure with her parasol or umbrella, that kind of takes on the form of the kanzashi. So you have the whole bunch of flowers and the fruit trailing down, the little buds or flower buds. So it kind of replicates that shape. You just put like a tiny figure there, approximately, in the same area that it would be on their head. Let's see now. So, let's see. See right there. Okay. So people, who've seen or know about, what a who a geisha is, they immediately, it clicks. Oh, that's what it's showing. Okay. So also when you put the kanzashi there, it's not just any other Japanese lady in kimono. A lot of times only geishas wear this. So that's how it kind of all ties in together. Right? And obviously, this was supposed to be a poster, so just put in type, etc. Mocked it up as a book cover too. Okay. So it kind of just ties in the whole project together, even if you do it like a person.
And in what medium did you do this?
So this is let's see. Mostly. Yeah, so this was the whole background is a watercolor wash. Okay. At that point, I didn't have much time because I was trying to do a really huge. So one thing about commercial illustration, our final output for that was supposed to be 20 by 30 inches for the poster, and I actually started painting 20 by 30, which was a big mistake on my part because 2 days for submission, they were could have finished, right? So I did end up using digital media to color in the roofs and the ladies, but this is all watercolor wash. Oh, it's not zooming in here. But do you see the texture of the watercolor paper and the
Yes,
wash?
ma'am.
And the lines are all pen and ink. Okay, so I just recolored them digitally in Photoshop. So another one, let me show you this. Okay, let's show you a couple of other applications. Okay, so these are packaging illustrations. This is kind of like advertisement. Obviously, book covers, publishing, is a huge market for illustration. Another packaging one. And these are like personal ones that I did, after the pandemic. This is
Excuse me, ma'am.
yeah, go ahead.
And what about the illustration of afterlife?
Afterlife, sure, I can talk about that. Okay, let's just quickly go through these, okay? So this is actually, what medium do you think this is done? Any guesses?
Watercolor and digital media, I guess both.
Yes. So let's see if I can show you. So this is a scarf. Okay, it was again part of my thesis. So it's endangered coral. So that's like a vector shape forming the border, and the mermaid is kind of like guardian. She's kind of guarding a few coral that's left that hasn't bleached out. Okay, um, so you kind of have what do you call it? The very bright coral colors and kind of all of these things start fading out. So this watercolor, okay, so the color that you see is not digital. So the way I often work is I do a grisaille painting. So it's like an underpaint. Okay? So I paint the whole thing in, let's say, black and white. Okay? Then I kind of scan it in, clean it off, and put color on top of it to kind of make it. Because at the end, we do need to digitize a lot of work when we work commercially. So that's how it's done. I'll try and see if I can bring it to class. I actually have the scarf. So I'll try and see if I can bring it to class tomorrow and show you this on the screen. Okay. So Rizai is one thing I did want to go through in the class, so we'll see if we have time. Okay. But I feel it's a very useful medium, especially when you need, for surface design, you need a lot of color changes. Okay. It also works well for packaging. So this was like for packaging, so it's like saffron. Because it's like I kind of wanted to do like a gift box. Saffron is very expensive commodity. It's kind of rare. So the whole idea. So I kind of made a template for it too. Okay, this is from scratch. Again, because of my architecture background, to know how to generate things like that. But I guess I did model making for my classes, so do know how that works with packaging. So it's like a whole box that kind of goes like this, like a drawer, and slides into the sleeve. So this is what the top looks like. Okay. So when it's on the shelf, if it's put upright, you see this, and I've choose the name for those, and these are all watercolor. And this is what the front looks like. So this is digital. So kind of the kind of digital. So kind of mix the two videos here. Maybe you can see it better. So these are hand-drawn lines, and just put them in Photoshop and just put like lighter opacity white color behind it. So when it mixes up there, okay, you have the watercolor, and then you have like a digital slash line drawing. And then I also took some of these parts like the pistons and made a pattern to go on the rest of the box like a texture. This one is kind of like advertising. So Cirque du Soleil is like a performance group in the States. Where they kind of do these acrobatic acts and stuff like that. So this is Marillion. So I kind of wanted, they have a lot of different themed shows, especially in Las Vegas. So I kind of wanted to, this is Marillion. I don't know if any of you know that, but this is Marillion is J.R.R. Tolkien's book. He's the same guy who wrote the Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, etc. So it's like this epic, really epic book. So I wanted, kind of like a fantasy of mine to have Cirque du Soleil perform the Silmarillion and the characters from that. So I just kind of took off from there and kind of gave the, wow, I'm saying kind of a lot. Anyway, I did give the characters, different looks, and then gave them a color scheme. So this lady here, she's supposed to be the goddess of plants and trees and growth. So green is her color. So she's the one who sports green. And this one here, he's the one way I think king of the skies. I think so. It's all blue. This one here, Owlway controls the earth, and he builds mountains and stuff. So he has more earthy tones. This guy is the villain. So he kind of, so even like composition, you see on them doing something. This guy is just the face. So kind of like a banner that goes across hoardings, or like a bus like that. Okay? And I also put it on an airplane. And then you kind of use the same illustration to repurpose into, you change the composition. Okay. One thing I do is, even when I paint, so these are all painted in watercolor, I paint them separately on different layers. So they're easy to edit. You guys are not going to be doing that right now. You're painting on separate layers. One of the fundamentals to learn is how to work in one composition together. Okay. Okay, this one is definitely purely digital. It's chocolate packaging we did. Again, the endangered species in here. There is this chocolate brand in the States for endangered species. They donate like 10%, of whatever you buy to conservation projects. So I just wanted to, but their like packaging was really rubbish. So I just wanted to kind of put my own spin on it. So I have this tiger. So this is like one of the signature things I do with these little whiny things. We have made a tiger. So this one represents the O. This is an otter. So it represents the water. And then you have an owl. So there's a Pelican owl. And it represents the sky. So I'm going to put in three, I guess, major groups there. And knock them out. So that's your chocolate there. Afterlife. So the prompt was actually ghosts. This was my first assignment in class when I started learning illustration. And it took me 3 days just to do this because I ended up drawing, there are 99 humans here, I think, and I ended up stapling the whole piece. Okay, sorry, that's a really bad photo. But yeah, so it took me 3 days straight to just staple, the hell out of all these guys. And then I just ended up putting in color digitally. I did find a poem online that went very well with it, so I just marked it up with that. When you guys use things online, please be sure to credit, their authors, okay, original creators. So we just put his name there as well. But yeah, you see, so that's like a stipple piece. That's all the ink there, and then I just put color in digital. So all of those are like little dots that I actually drew by hand with what do you call this, microjet pens, right? So my whole idea was with afterlife, that there's like this portal and all of these people are walking towards it. We're just heading in one direction and kind of like following the herd mentality. And there's only like this one lady here who's just turning back and kind of like looking at the viewer and seeming to like stop in there and think about it a second. Am I doing the right thing? Because when they go there through the portal, they don't know what's happening. So if you see here, they started becoming like the shadow figures. There's more definition here in the center, but as they kind of goes out, they sort of start dissipating. See, so they lose their corporeal form. So in my mind, that's how ghosts work. Or like that's how afterlife works. They gradually just fade away into energy and nothing. Okay, is that enough of the work going around? I don't, yeah. Yes, no? Anything else you want to see? Anyone?
Ma'am, can you tell us about next to mermaid life?
This one?
Mermaid, yeah.
Okay, activity. This was another class project. We're supposed to do like, I guess like a promotional poster, okay, but for our future self. This is supposed to be me, okay, at a like very weird angle. So also, yes, my baby hands because that's what they look like. Um, so I was kind of like really thinking. So whenever you start a piece, you think about bigger ideas. So I work conceptually. Okay, we discussed that in a little bit, conceptual illustration. But I could work conceptually. So with conceptual, it's like the hero is the main idea. Okay, what's your concept behind it? And you don't want to show it exactly how it is. So for me, I was thinking, oh, let's say this was like a poster for myself or for my work or showcasing me in 10 years. If I think of it, oh, in 10 years, this is where I want to be. I want to be like a prolific artist, a prolific illustrator. I want to do these projects, have dream jobs. So one way of showing that would be like, oh, I could show like huge studio space. I would be working. Maybe I have a team of, if I have like a design studio, maybe I have a team of illustrators or graphic designers working. So it could be just that, a scene, a setting, a narrative, right? Like I'm just telling that story. The other way to show it is through another idea, like metaphorically. So here I'm talking about like activity. So an activity is like, an upward slope. Okay, so when you think of it conceptually, that's what I wanted to do. So starting here, but I do want to go more upwards. Okay, so as an idea, that's what I chose. So when I kind of started doing it, I was thinking, oh, what actually shows an upward slope? Okay, so obviously mountains, very literally, right? So I put that in as one word. Okay, but then I'm like, what is it that I am actually working to? Okay? So after like a lot of brainstorming, we kind of came up with this idea that I'm actually climbing over myself to become a better version of myself, right? A better version of my art too. So that's what I tried to show you. So these are all rock faces, it's like a valley and you see the sky at the end. So the idea is to reach that. And I'm just trying to grab hold of all of these little nooks and crannies that are on the faces and move upwards. You also need to, so when we talk about conceptual illustration, you also need context. This was inspired by a trip I made, recently before I did this piece to Antelope Canyon in the States. I think it's somewhere around the Grand Canyon, and it looks like this. Okay, you see that? It has a lot of like colors. So in the canyon, there are a lot of these terraces. So the way the light, filters in. You see all of these shades of purples, yellows and stuff like that. Okay, it's really beautiful. So it was very inspirational. You see, the form, we have this, whole canyon, just you see a peak of the sky. So when I go back to the illustration, that's what I kind of tried to use. So it became at once a stylistic device, kind of got back to that inspirational place I went to, and it also brought in, what I wanted to show, the time over the boxes. Yeah, just knocked it up. Because of course I'll have a green carpet attention. Okay? Do you think that's enough discussion for now? Okay. So ideally, I would like you guys to, bring your work to this finish when you're done. But we have 4 days, okay? And realistically, it's pretty hard unless it takes years of practice to get this. But we'll try to do our best. Okay? So let's see. Okay, so I need a little bit of input from all of you as to where you want to start because obviously you studied with Prasenjit sir. So I don't want to spend time on repeating things you already discussed or and know. So we can move forward and focus on learning other things. So did you possibly discuss what illustration is, what its applications are? Anyone?
We did discuss what illustrations are. We didn't go very deep into uh, the usage and like the corporate sector, how it is used in the real world.
Okay. I'm not sure if we will actually have time to cover all of that. I do want to spend a little bit more time in actually discussing your actual work, because I think it's really important to actually build up a strategy. Um, so I'm obviously not will be trying to teach you the way I learned it and how I work, okay? Because I think that helps that focus and direction very well. Okay, let's just start the way I have did it with the other batch, okay? And if you guys think that okay, you already been through this whole thing, then just skip it and start move ahead. Okay? So I want to let's talk about okay. Let me share my screen again. Did you guys have submission yesterday? Come on, that's an easy answer. Yes or no?
It's on Sunday, like the deadline is on Sunday.
Okay,
We'll
okay,
do.
okay. Yeah, just wanted to ask if you had enough rest. Oh, before I share that, let's just try and show you the grisaille thing so you have a little idea. Because I end up forgetting. Just maybe. Okay. Yeah, I guess let me just show you this. Is your screen blank now? Yeah. Right. Okay, so basically this is what grisaille is. Let's see. see. Oh, okay, so this is what Grisai is. This is a PNG. It's for a friend's logo that I did. So it's watercolor. So you see, it's basically like grayscale, right? Kind of just, oh, sorry. Yeah, so just like a grayscale painting. The same with the lily hair. Okay, so wherever I want more color to actually show is where I leave more white space, and wherever I want like it is more shadows, I put in darker tone. So when I finally put in color, it's what it's what it ends up looking. Because I made a few changes to the shape, but after I did that, but that was like my design, and that was the final. Okay. So all of those markings, they actually take color and value from the underpaint. So here's another color I did for you. Sorry, it's too small. All of my stuff is in the cloud, so it'll take a while to download. Here's a third one. Okay, so different color schemes. So I just basically, yeah, so with the lily, okay, that was our black and white design lily, and was the watercolor. Yeah, so all of this is just watercolor. I just literally just plonked in a color digitally, and I can end up changing it. So if I wanted like the lighter one, I can manipulate the color because I already have my value structure. I have a more like cooler peak. Okay, so I don't know if it's like something you understood, but if you don't, I can actually demonstrate it to you. Okay, let's talk about this piece. What do you think the illustration is trying to show? This is by Owen Davey. He's a British illustrator. He works in very geometric forms. And if you discussed with your classmates from the other batch, you probably already know. Also, did some of you from the other batch actually join the meeting? Anyone? Anyone from group A? Come on. So I'm going to start rolling my eyes at you guys. Am I on mute?
Ma'am, what was the question?
My question is, what do you think the illustrator is trying to tell you? What's happening? Even a description is okay.
So, ma'am, I think the girl is really sad or something and just sleeping. Just let go of some, and the sunlight is coming to her to just show the feeling.
Okay. What else? Anyone else? Come on, quickly. What is it telling you? It's very simple. There's no right or wrong answer. You can have different answers. Just tell me what you think. You guys, girls, come on.
It feels like she's sad and like running away from something and is sad.
Okay. What time of the day do you guys think it is?
I think it's winters going on and it's a sunny day in winters.
Okay. Why do you
Like
think
one
it's winter?
sun Because it's all blue and dark, but then there's one sort of ray of hope, which is like sunlight.
Okay. Anyone else?
It might be like a late evening because the sun rays are like very
Can you please speak up? Your voice is very
oh, sorry.
like
It
yeah.
might be like a late evening because the sun rays are like very orangish.
Okay. Why is she in bed?
Same answer, ma'am. She might be sad about something and she's just looking outside the window.
Okay. Anyone else?
Ma'am, I feel like the girl is in any sort of pain or something.
Okay. What kind of thing? Like emotional or physical?
I mean, it can be any because her position shows that it can be also a physical pain maybe.
Okay. So let me tell you what I think. When I first saw it, I was like, oh my god, she's trying to get some sleep, but you know, like the side she always sleeps on, somebody is like, maybe like there's a car outside with headlights on, or there's like a neon sign outside instead of saying all the light on her, so she can't sleep. Okay. Anyone else wants to have a go? And the other way is also, you see there's a little heart on top of the bed, so it could be that she's suffering from heartbreak too. You see there are two pillows on her bed, so is her boyfriend not there? Is he gone? What's happening? Did she go through a breakup? Is she crying? Right? So see, all of like most of you thought, it's like really sad and stuff, but we all kind of build our own story around her, right? So okay, let's see what happens when this is added. What do you guys think now? Now, what do you think it's talking about?
She must be going through some cramps, so that's why she's in that
Okay.
position, that kind of position. To just avoid the pain or just
Okay. Do you mean period cramps?
yeah.
Okay. Anyone else? Come on, no answers, like I said.
Maybe it can be about sleeping peacefully.
Okay. But what about sleeping peacefully? Is it proposing solutions?
Maybe, yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anyone else? See, you have a lot more information now in the picture. Come on, one more person. Let's go. Why do you think the rubber duck is there?
I think she's suffering from any physical disease, and that's why the temperature is very low. And that duck maybe reminds of that since she's in uh, fever or any physical, then she needs bath, maybe.
Okay. So what's happening? So what happened when you kind of, went from that picture, okay, which just had her, all of you attached this whole story to her, and now when we look at this, it's giving us another story, okay, but it's also giving us an overall idea, okay. So now a lot of you kind of moved away from that emotional meaning to a more physical, right? So what happened is, by adding all of this, okay, What do you think happened to the image all of a sudden too? Do you find yourself wondering more about what these little images mean rather than what, the girl and the, tone of light and stuff?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah? Okay. So what happens when you add, sort of, so this is a very abstract way of sort of putting, more ideas or more information. So what happened is that it went from a narrative to a concept. Okay. So here, when I look at this, it reads more as a narrative. The illustrator is telling you a story about, with the mood and the lighting and stuff. So that becomes the main focus. Immediately when he puts these things there, it becomes more of the overall idea of, well-being and physical and like, all of these solutions that maybe he's proposing. So it kind of takes away that meaning you attach to the other piece. So one is basically storytelling, and the other is basically talking about the, more of the idea. So, we talk about when we talk about illustration, a lot of times all illustration falls into two main categories. Okay? Right now, a lot of lines are blurred between the two categories, but mostly you can kind of divert in that way. It's like two approaches to illustration. And so when you talk about narrative, you look at these two. Okay, here you have this boat. Two people are sitting there, a cat and books, kind of enjoying the day. The seagulls flying over. So you kind of build this whole story around them. Okay, it's not telling you anything else. Okay, as such, the same thing with this. It's an advertisement for Blue Moon beer. So you see, kind of telling you the whole idea that okay, there are these two people sitting there drinking beer, they enjoying the day. You have the surfer actually surfing, so it's putting in what is actually there, okay, representing it basically. So with narrative, it's basically storytelling. Okay, you're just narrating visually. So instead of writing out what's actually happening and describing it, they're drawing it. So if you look at this illustration here, if I were to tell a friend, okay, let's say if this was cafe in Paris or something, if I were to tell a friend, I would be like, oh, there was this building which had rooftop and an awning, these arches, with these windows. There were tables outside on the pavement and umbrellas and all of these like little fairy lights. It was very festive. They had festivities and stuff. Or I even saw this like girl walking this like dog down the street, and the dog was like so cute and fluffy. And she had this handbag, which is like the latest fashion. I thought it was like she had a cute dress on with like sneakers. And there was this really nice tree there. Even the rooftop had trees. There's like a palm here, and there's one palm that looks like a pineapple. So I'm just describing the scene. But obviously, when I draw it out, it's much more clear. Okay. So it's basically a literal interpretation or depiction. Okay? It can include, it showing the moods, and what we read into it is our own input from it. Okay? But it directly relates the idea. So when I describe her, that's what this person do. Okay? It's representational. So more or less, it's an accurate depiction of reality. So when we go back to this one, okay, it's a very stylized form, but you can tell that the human is a human. You can tell the turtle is a turtle. Okay, it's not like so abstract that one person sees it as one thing and the other sees it as the other. Okay? So a lot of times, children's storybooks, they have narrative illustrations. So children can actually read better into one sequence after another. Okay? That oh, this happened and then this happened. So and this is exactly what it is. So it helps them build like relationships between pictures. So that's how it's used most of the time. Sequential is a part of the narrative. Okay? Uh, let's say comic. Okay, they're all narrative. But what happens is with comics, each panel does not tell the whole story. You have to rely on the one before it and after it. When I showed you the panel illustration of the girl, you guys immediately, started telling us about, oh, maybe she's feeling sad. That immediately starts attaching context to it. It's not so with sequential. So with narrative illustration, with all illustration, you're basically trying to depict one idea or tell a whole story through one picture. So let's move on to conceptual. Okay. So what do you think is happening on the left?
No, it's a doctor saving us from the coronavirus.
Okay.
And
But
in that thread.
Okay, cutting the trees. So why do you think there's a dollar sign?
Because it's falling, because it's affecting the economy.
Okay. So the way they've shown it here is basically use the bomb analogy, right? You can tell, yeah, right? So obviously, the coronavirus particle literally doesn't have a fuse. So you can actually put it, okay? It's not like totally attached, or like literally attached to the finances, right? It's not even showing money, it's just showing the dollars. Right? So we have these, we call metaphors. So using one thing in place of another to show an idea. Okay? So like the dollar sign actually signs, when you put that in, you're going to attach the finances, economy immediately because there's a context there. Okay? So your whole concept kind of ties in together, and you don't really need to draw out, the whole sequence of events of how, if one affects the others. That's really. So, like, a doctor trying to treat a patient, and the patient lost their job, and they had to shut down, let's say his restaurant, and that's affecting, his customers, and that's affecting his employees. So, you don't need to show, that whole narrative to get that one idea across that the doctors are helping, diffuse the pandemic situation so that the finances or economy can be stable. What's happening in the one on the right? Come on, that's easy.
When she's imagining maybe what her fantasy world is like and she's living in there.
Okay, what do you think her fantasy world is like?
Something which is very, which is like full of nature, but it's something dark also.
Okay. Do you think the dark is more significant or nature is more significant?
I think the dark is more significant.
Okay. Anyone else? Come on. Look at the image, you see the roses are on her eyes. You have this little bed in the center. They're all dark and, kind of like really morbid roses. There are pieces of paper stuck in them. They look like they're torn. The big manuscript, pick with a love letter. Oh, this one says telegram. There's it says him too.
And she's blindsided by the fantasy world which is being shown by her lover or something.
Okay.
It's too dark for the future.
Okay. Yes, so a lot of times, see, when you put something on the eyes or something that covers anything, it's like you're blinded, okay? That's a context we attach to it. So here, there are two roses, okay? Another symbolic representation that we tie to, love, right? And then the same thing with we see the way it's also drawn, very romantic, and even then you see these pieces of paper. So you immediately start thinking about the other idea. And again, the illustrator has used black, a color that we tie with in darkness. So, Basically, instead of actually, let's say, if she had a quarrel with her lover, or her lover was trying to fool her in some way, instead of actually showing her crying or depressed, or like in a narrative way that she's not listening to, let's say her parents are telling her not to be with him, but then she's just ignoring them and just going away with him, stuff like that. You kind of just show it very poetically by, just covering her eyes with the roses and, bring in the whole idea as the hero, the concept as the hero. So that's another way to show conceptual with symbolism. So what a conception actually is, it's a visual metaphor. Okay? So metaphors are basically use one thing show another. So it's an indirect depiction, okay? And you use one idea or another to inform or explain another. It also includes a lot of symbolism, and you can also use elements that seem narrative, okay? But they come together to give you a different idea or another idea. So let's say this one, for example, this illustration. So this obviously looks like, a market, like Sabji Mandi, you have all of them just lying there. And the lady is trying to decide what to bake, what to cook for dinner tonight or something. But then when you add the phone there, it brings in the whole other context of online shopping, right? So that one little change immediately changes the whole idea of what it's talking about. So, okay, I forgot to correct that from my previous batch too, but conceptual is most often used in editorial. So this may be an article about, let's say, online grocery shopping, picking up during the lockdown. So this would be an illustration, that goes with the heading, okay? It doesn't tell you everything that's happening. It's not describing the scene of like the lady, actually using a cell phone to order stuff. Okay? But it brings together these elements that are crucial to the scene, okay, and kind of marries them together in a way that one picture immediately gives you an idea of what the article is about. Okay? So it's basically the headline put into words. Okay. Editorial is like a big market for conception, so are posters, okay, because they have to explain an idea with as very succinctly. So with as little information or like as little extraneous information as possible, and deliver a very powerful message. Okay. So let's talk about illustration strategy. So this is like a method of working that, especially for illustrations, but I find very useful in terms of when you're trying to do art, especially like I said, there are no wrong answers as such. Okay, it depends on individual taste too, whether or not you like some things or not. But when you use when you have to do commercial work, you always have pressure like from clients and things like that. So you need to make decisions very quickly. There are like a million and one options, to choose from. So how do you make decisions very quickly and make sure make sure that they work? Okay, just give me a second, okay? Okay, so with illustration strategy, for our assignments, okay, we're going to follow through with this. Okay, it's part of your grading. It's part of your grading, so pay attention. And you may speak up if you do not know or do not understand or have doubts. Okay, I will explain it. The previous batch made this mistake. They did not know what was happening with a certain part of what I explained. Okay, did not speak up, but they did not know. Okay, Because I will not tolerate that you come, the day before submission and tell me that, okay, we don't know how to do this. Okay? That does not work. You have passing time, you have time right now. So even if you don't understand a little bit, just tell me and I will explain. Okay? If necessary, I can do a demo too. Okay? We have time to learn in class. So what we start with is, so I will explain a little bit relatively through the project, right? So I'm just going to go through. Okay, so begin with ideation and brainstorming. Now, this is on design and foundation. I will went through a lot of this. So the way I kind of do it, especially for conceptual, okay. So right now I'm going to show you a little bit of. So our first assignment is going to be a conceptual illustration. Okay, very clean, straight up. So what I do, especially when I have to create a conceptual piece, is I write on drawings. So let's see, this one was for say the tiger poster that I wanted to do. So right off the bat, I just write up animal conservation and what that means. Sometimes it also helps to kind of, like write down synonyms, okay? Even if it's in your seems stupid, but like what is animal? Like other words for animals, like that. Conservation, what are the other words for it? Just like that. So that kind of keeps on sparking up ideas. Okay? So let's say when I was coaching, kind of associated and wrote down everything that I've heard on research that's being proved. So like ivory, see ivory is not related to tigers, but still, kind of get the brain going. So ivory has for skin trophies, most animal has that are hung on the walls. Trinkets, a little like boxes and stuff. Plants, supposed for medicines, the rugs, whatever talking about whatever pops into your head related to it. So just write it all down, okay? So it's there on paper. Okay? So when I do that, it kind of sparks a lot of ideas, okay? And sometimes when that sparks ideas, you have to keep 2 sheets of paper. I think that helps me. So you just write down words on one or whatever you're thinking, whatever you're searching, okay? The other, just start drawing. Okay? Whatever is in your head, put it down on paper. Whether it's word or visual at this point. Okay? Then, especially for conceptual, of word it helps me a lot. So, pressing in on this. Okay, what happens is, so I made this like little grid. Okay, so on one side I kind of wrote all the things that are related to tigers. I have tiger, I have its fur, I have its skin that's made into a rock, teeth and claws, the trophy thing, the bones and skeleton, paws. Paws also lead me to footprint. Tigers in the forest. Yeah, I don't even know what this is. These are tiger cubs. And then on the other side, I have all the things that are kind of harming them. Okay, because I'm talking about saving them, so I want to write down the reasons. I want to, basically, my idea is to convince people or like show them what they're not, okay, or not supposed to be. So all of these things that are harming them. Passion, okay, so you make of coats. I mean, I haven't necessarily seen a lot of tiger skin coats, but still. So, right, have actually, how many of you have seen Tiger King? Tiger King, yeah. On Netflix? I mean, you could just speak up and say, I have not. Yeah. People participate. You're not talking to a screen. Come on.
No, ma'am.
No, none of you have seen it? Really? Oh my god. You guys should see Tiger King. It puts like, a lot of Bollywood movies to shame too with the drama. Yeah. Right. So anyway, like fashion, trinkets, home decor, hunting, guns, like, whatever comes into my head, that's fine. Put all of that there, okay? And then, I know, see, this is a lot of work, but it's sparked a lot of ideas, okay? And a lot of good ones too. So, I kind of just put in the 2 words together, okay? I guess I could do it in an Excel sheet. This also, like putting it down on paper actually helps, like literally with the flow of ideas too. So and then I kind of went in circle the one I think super well visually or that kind of get my ideas sparking. So once I put all of that down, it's just a matter of writing. Okay, just kind of spoke each word around like, oh, tiger in fashion. Okay, what can I broken into tiger's coat? Okay, what does that show? What else can I add to it that kind of would convince people that this is not the way to go about it. So things like that. So wait, if you try and see if you can find the timeless. Okay, yeah, I found them. So I'll show you in a little bit. Um, okay, sorry guys, I think my screen is stopped. Just give me a second. Okay, so basically what I did was, first in terms of ideation, I did kind of market research. So like I explained before to the other project on my website, like it's like looking at what is already there. Okay. So if it works, I would like to take it forward and add to the scenario. So like all of these are conceptual posters. These are like shadows forming and trends. So a lot of times it also informs you that okay, a negative space and showing things in that context also helps me. Okay. I think this is like basically rethinking or like associating another idea with what is already there. We did all of this research and I found all of this great work online, okay? And that's when I started doing the brainstorming. So this is what I showed you in the PDF about, kind of like writing words down. And then I have the whole grid and I circle the ideas that I think spark up visuals, okay? And then I kind of went to the thumbnail. So last time this was done side by side. So let's say this one was, tiger head is an actual nighttime, okay? And the wallpaper behind it, it shows all of these tigers roaming in the virgin forest. If there are these stripes there, it can signify bars. This one is kind of a narrative conceptual in that it's really a story, but then it's also a story that is not usually heard. So it kind of talks about the bigger piece. So tigers on the um, I guess operation table, and this person is wearing a tiger. It's a face transfer of the tiger. Again, this is more like fashion and tigers. Okay, this one is a fabric showing tigers in the forest, and this person is actually cutting out of the tigers. It kind of shows the idea of habitat loss for them. These kind of are things that really don't perfect life. Obviously, the concept does work, but it doesn't work that much here with the thumbnail because I have to write the word. So one of the things you want to do with illustration is avoid writing. Because that becomes really like relying on words, and what we're trying to do is rely solely on visual. Here it's these are just sometimes I just write notes for myself. Okay? So here these are like really expensive shoes. So if you watching shoes, they have red soles. Okay? Very very expensive stuff, and a lot of times at the price of an innocent animal. So I'm trying to show that the footprints are actually really top. Again, like a flat rate with like other things we take for granted, and like all of these things made from tigers are among them, and we kind of keep demonstrating it. So it's part of a lot of ideas that I put down, and I ultimately zeroed in on this one, the flower placement. Okay, that they're not home decor was my idea. So the idea was to show the tiger in its natural environment, that is the forest, but then when you kind of look at it, you realize that it's not a forest at all. It's just like a flower vase with flowers and fake plastic foliage. And that was the idea. These were like some other ones where the leaf kind of dries up with the stripes and forms the shadow of the tiger. Kind of in distress underneath. Another one was like a poacher hiding in the tiger's eye, and the forest kind of burning off. This was like ripples, so kind of dissipating droplets in the water to show the extinction. This was people actually pulling off the tiger's stripes, kind of trying to, hold the reins, how to control horses. Just the references for these. And kind of give two, we call them line comps, okay? So bring them up to the line workstation. So here kind of combine line and values. So this was one of the ideas. You see the poacher there, and the tiger's like stripes or markings are actually the forest burning up. Okay? This was supposed to be a poster, so it obviously goes hand in hand with text, but the idea is that it should work, without the visuals. So we're folding the reins, we fold them up. And this is the one that actually ended up finishing. So, the tiger is among these trees, but then as you kind of look down, it comes, all of it converges into this flower was a very ordinary home decor item. Okay, then you can look at the color comp, and then yeah, so this is how I work a lot of times. Make individual pieces in watercolor, put them up, and sort of compose it then visually. Okay, so this is when I did like the first composition, and then I printed and corrected the colors. So this is my final. Okay. So you go from those little scribbles and words to your final piece. So there's this whole system that if you follow it, it'll work out well in your favor in terms of decision making. Otherwise, there's a lot of like back and forth. We go back to our presentation. So okay, so another example. So here, okay, so after you have the initialization, you come to thumbnails. Okay? Usually very small, like obviously not like very complex, like this much. Okay, I don't know any details it's in here, but basically something that fits in the palm of your hand comfortably and leaves room. Okay? 3 by 3 inches, around 2 inches at the shortest side is good. It gives you enough space to kind of plan out things. And they can be as loose or as detailed as you want. Ideally, the idea is the more you do the better. Okay? The looser the better because you know that kind of frees up your mind that okay, this is not something I can't do. And the more you, of the, like I said, the more you draw the better. So here, this one was another one that I again looking at the treatment of animals. So I was looking at these. I was reading an article about these necklaces that were made that were in the water. They were like really big skating pieces, but then it held a little, less than a cup of water. And then it put these betta fish in it. Okay, really beautiful fish, with like really flowing fins and stuff. And it was like really, really cool. Okay, it became a sort of flat. It was really cool because the fish hardly had any space to swim around. And that also had this new fact that was starting that people started putting. We had a goldfish bowl. Okay, that in itself is very less space for the for a fish, and it's also circular, okay, which actually disorients fishes a lot because they have to keep swimming in circles all the time. It disorients them, keep banging against the glass. So reference if you see fish tanks, the bigger ones, they're actually rectangle fish bowls, but just mostly used in advertisements. So they started making them smaller and cuter in ideation. So they started making fish bones out of light bulbs. So imagine, that fish was swimming like a light bulb, very cool. So I wanted to showcase that, and my idea for that was where can I show you to bring light to that subject? So fish is where they shouldn't be. So a lot of them just started, with explanations like, oh, what if the fishes are kind of swimming around in a forest? Right? Not in a lake in a forest, but they're just around things. So now this whole role you're exploring that from different angles and stuff. What if it was like, oh, they're unpacking types because you associate them with water, but then even the context that's different. So I started up just drawing them literally on bathroom tiles, and then it kind of just sparked up these ideas here. That okay, one is in the bathroom tile, the other is coming in from the sink, and then kind of just draw it go from the sink, or it's coming in out from the what do you call it, the faucet or something like that. Okay? Then that kind of just brought me to the other idea. Oh, if it's water, what about fire? So I started showing them around fire. I think at some point I also had them candles. And so I had like a couple of candles. I think it was a row of candles, just like swimming around. And again, this is the three letter boxes and what it's like there. So just like little things that just sparked up ideas. I ended up choosing this because it kind of spoke to me the most in terms of, oh, you should keep birds in a book. Okay? What if there was a fish, Like that immediately set up that a lot of people would think, oh my god, you put fish in birthday. So it's like it's unheard of, it seems cool. Even the way you can draw it is like the fish is really inconsiderately like bending in the bird cage. Okay? That's not a thing that you usually can see in terms of an aquarium because you always think, oh, they're happy, they're swimming around, which is not the case. So I took that and then drew it out bigger. Okay, it with a line cut, right? So I just drew it out here and then so when I did this, I draw it out with the pencil, make it a more refined drawing, sort of proportion problems, etc. I sometimes do end up using Photoshop to actually make things more bigger or smaller just because it's a quicker way to do it. So when you're learning right now, I would not suggest you use Photoshop to do that. Okay, use tracing instead. So what I sometimes do is I would draw the fish separately on one piece of tracing paper, page separately on another piece of tracing paper, paint them together one on top of another. So it's like two layers, right? And then you just shift them around to see what angle works best and how it's supposed to sit in there compositionally. And then you freeze the concept. Then take another tracing paper, put it on top, and then draw them together. So once I did that, I think I actually kind of drew half of the page and then I flipped it and drew the other half so it's more symmetrical. Put the fish in it and redrew the whole page. Okay. Then I also thought it's better to kind of do it. So the way I guess in a lot of cultures, even in ours, we read things in, like literally read in from left to right. Right? So whenever it is visually, that instinct remains intact. So whenever you have a thing, looking from right to left, for a lot of us, it feels us going backwards rather than facing forward. So from left to right is a good direction. If we want to show, the idea of moving forward or grabbing more attention. So because it literally leads your eye this way to move to the next page. So this seemed right, more right to me visually. So I kind of flipped it around. This was a pattern, so I just drew up these roses, whatever, and put them in Illustrator to create a pattern because it quickly gives me that tool. Obviously, I could just sit and manually draw it out, like all of it, again and again. But the idea for me then was to be efficient about my work. Okay? I use that, put it down back behind it, okay? And then I redrew the whole thing. So I have my line right, all ready and defined. Okay? So at that stage, I know this is how it works. Okay? Then I do value studies. Now, do you guys know what value studies are? Value props are?
I'm in grayscale.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, please.
Grayscale what? Can you explain to me?
So basically, just I don't know how to explain, but yeah, if there's a fish, so just adding more value to it or just reducing it to see.
Okay. So value is basically, very simply put the amount of light and dark. Okay. So what value does is it separates shapes. Okay? So one thing I want you guys to do is get away from that idea of that comic or coloring book style of doing illustration. You do not need a line to delineate shapes. Okay? Value is your hero here. Okay, that helps you. So if you do not have that black line, okay, so let's just say here, what if I do not have that black line? It's supposed to be just one shape. So obviously it would make no sense if this was a darker gray than this one. Okay, to make sure that those two shades stay separate. Okay, same thing from here. How do I distinguish one flower from another? I change the value. Okay, because we do not want to rely too much on the line when we are learning, especially. So with a value structure, you also can decide what the focus of your point. So right now, okay, let's talk about this one. I have a really dark background and the fish is pretty light. Okay? So that immediately when you put it there, the focus goes there. Here there's a lighter like background, but okay, so let's talk about this one. Sorry. So here, I have the same value for these flowers here as I do the pitch. That kind of merges things for me. Okay, it becomes very busy. It seems to be distracted a little bit. Okay? So so go on and try another one. So I put like a lighter background with it was a mid tone for the flowers. Okay? But again, because I put a lighter background, I kind of wanted to make my fish darker, so I took it back. So if I have a darker fish, maybe I can try and make one for the page. So I did that, but then if I make the face white, it creates a very stark contrast between the two. So I put in a lighter gray there, but it's still not working. The fish doesn't seem like a whole like object together. Okay. So, okay, wait a minute. Okay, that's also not working. So even the clouds, you deal with the light and dark clouds. My instinct is to put in white a lot of time. Okay, that is also not uh, really helping with my composition. Okay. And then I even know when I look at the cloud here that I put, to balance things out. Like, oh, it's only creating a distraction. So try the third one. So I put a mid tone there. Okay. So the background of the wallpaper color is just a step down from the value of the roses and flowers. Okay. I I did keep the words a lighter theme because I did want them to be a second focus even in the wallpaper. And then I tried a darker one for the cage, the lighter one for the fish. I'm like, okay, that seems to be working better. It's making the whole cage and fish more as the focus and fish is everything back. So I think I ultimately ended up making a fourth value count, which worked better, but I don't think I have it here. But then I go from the color to the color. So usually what you want to do, how you want to proceed is you take a value count that works the best for you, and then you add color to it. So the way you add color is it follows the value structure, okay, or it follows the structure of dark and light. So if your page is the darkest, if you want to put, let's say, a yellow in the page, when you mix that hue of black with the yellow, it becomes a sort of antique goldish. Okay? If I want to make the fish blue, and if I have that shade of lightness, it makes a very pale green light blue fish. Okay? So that's how you're thinking in terms of color from the value structure. That's how that works. So obviously here, I followed the other value structure that I was talking about. It's not very sorry about that. Um, but in the end, I kind of thought that I liked this. That was whatever was going on here. But it seemed to be very festive, it's colorful and stuff. And I like the golden because you have that energy of the bird in a golden cage. It should be happy that it's not sort of me. And like I said, a lot of artists have a color scheme. So for me, blue was the things I usually went to. So I see a lot of blue. So I picked this color called finally, okay? So what we want to do is actually when you go from, so these are all done digitally because it gives me, it can make quicker decisions. So when you want to go from digital to final, okay, especially when you're starting out with a traditional medium that you're not familiar with, the idea is just to exactly do what you've done for your color, okay, and your value structure. So if you're not able to translate that, okay, it's going to be a disaster. So if that is not working for you, okay, I love the advice to set a quick code on value and color digitally, but if that doesn't work for you, what you want to do is take the thumbnails that you drew, okay, or redraw it, and quickly use whatever paints you're actually going to use and work with the value structure with an actual traditional. Okay. So from this, I just kind of finished up and went to the final. Okay. So this was what I finally ended up. Okay. So I did a lot of little studies. This was the first time I was using gouache. Okay. So I did a whole wall of watercolor behind. That's the wallpaper and stuff. And then I wanted a more solid feel or the feel to look good. So not realism, but more, I guess, um, tactile or substantial. So I can at least watch that. Right? So the wallpaper kind of becomes like this transparent thing, mostly washes and then cleans. I ended up removing the clouds completely because the sea was just that extra detail, but that was distracting underneath it. So this is what I finally ended up with. So you see like I have the finish there. We use like a darker tone. This is like a midtone for the cage. And then the wallpaper is obviously like a lighter color and not these, kind of bright flowers, but they're more like I said, they do have like more color trees in them. And for the birds, again, I just picked up the yellow yellow leaf wash tools and just to change them around. So that's one bird there, other there, the third one down here. So, yeah, so this piece is kind of titled, at least the purpose. So, kind of talked about, the fish being trapped or being, misused, and she's kind of like thinking, oh, at least the bird might think, but then they will, that just as stuck in the wallpaper as she is making. A fish hook there, you get popped up in the final, but a fish hook there, it's actually holding up that cage rather than, a normal. Okay? So let's go to the assignment. Wait, do any of you have any questions? Yes, no? Any questions?
Ma'am, the value comp you showed for this illustration, the
Yeah,
wallpaper had the dark shades, right? The in the middle one.
yeah.
Did you use that one or this means out of these three, which was the value comp of the final artwork?
So that's what I said. I think I did a fourth one, okay,
Okay.
which I don't have on here, but the first one is the closest to the value comp I used. See,
Okay, ma'am. Yes,
so we
ma'am.
have like a lighter, background, and then
Yes,
one toner, and then like a slightly darker fish. And this is also lighter because it's more transparent, the thing. So like I
yes, ma'am.
see the value, see, that's what is happening. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So when you do a value comp, the more detail you put in it, in terms of dark and light, it will help you resolve things more. Okay. Uh, Obviously, I have a more practiced eye because I've been doing this for a long time. So for me, this was enough to move forward. Okay.
One more thing, for wallpaper you use the floral print one, and so don't you think there is floral print plus the cage has the golden color, so it is a bit disturbing.
It is, but my idea was to also, kind of show that, oh, there's like this celebratory spirit going on. So I kind of used like a little, see, what I wanted to show was at some point my idea also tweaked a little bit. Okay? So I did want to show like, not just like, a spot illustration, okay, that, oh, it's just like a bird cage and the fish is in there. I wanted to show the context of it. So I kind of imagine this in like a suburban, western household where they have a lot of like floral prints going on. So kind of take that idea of the wallpaper forward in terms of that the board that I put there would be a secondary. Okay, so fish is my main focus, but the birds are a secondary, and it kind of mixes the two together. So when you look here, okay, the bird kind of sees that, oh, it's also in the cage, right? So like the idea for me at that point was to kind of bring in that chaos too. That, okay, is the bird actually in the cage or not? Is that a real bird or not? Is it a wallpaper or not? So it kind of prompts all these questions, okay, and start, getting going as a conversation piece that, okay, what is also the fish doing in it? And see, like the hook, the fish hook that I put there as well, it's a very minor detail, that kind of may also go unnoticed. So sometimes it's also about adding, an extra meaning, okay? But obviously, I feel that if I were to do this again, I would need to tone down the wallpaper. Okay? Maybe I would make the birds bigger. I would maybe, make them like more tropical birds flying. Okay? So that was my idea when I did that. Does that like answer your question?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I do agree with you that it is busy, but when I showed you all of my work, I like drawing a lot of little things coming together and putting in a lot of detail. That is not necessarily the way how everybody works. So you have to have your process. The only thing is have a reason for why you're doing it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let's go to the first assignment. Um, the first assignment, I want to think conceptual. Okay, so basically look at conceptual illustrations. You can Google them. You find a lot of them, and a lot of times, yes. Okay. Let me just talk about the details of it first. In terms of deliverables, so we're going to work with a final of like 8 by 10 inches. Okay? So it's not too big. You can do it like about this much. I don't want you to get overwhelmed and have enough time to finish it and actually go through the whole process so you come up with a good finished piece. Okay. Of course, we're going to be using a traditional medium of choice. Okay. In color, so I don't want any black and white or grayscale. uh, what I finally want from you at the end is a PDF that has all of these things. So, in a couple of pages of your ideation process. So, even if it's like scribbles, whatever words you're writing, just put them all in here, like a photo. Okay. I want you to do 15 to 20 thumbnails. Okay. It doesn't matter how good or how rubbish they are, just do them. Two line prompts. Okay. So from the thumbnails to the line prompts, you can choose two ideas of the thumbnails and make like this bigger sketches. So when we work with 8 by 10, the thumbnails would ideally be good at 2 by 3 inches. Okay. And then we can do the line prompts either at 8 by 10 or smaller, not thumbnail small, but maybe 4 by 5, but keep it proportional to the original sense. Again, so we do not set up expectations that we cannot do in our final. Okay? Uh, After you do the two line prompts, you take one from that, okay? And then it is two value studies. And be mindful of what values you're putting in. Be mindful of why you're making this dark or why you're making this liquid. Okay? From that, pick the one that works the best in terms of what you want your focus to be, what you want your intent to be, and then on to a color prompt. So we're going to do at least 2 or 3 color schemes. Okay? So try and make sure that you keep your colors to a minimum. Maybe use 3. Okay? If you want to make it colorful, by all means, but make sure that you're using colors that work well with each other, okay? And not just like really loud complementary clothes, okay? Then bring the color wheel again, okay? Brush up on that, the color theory, and that will help you a lot. And from the color concepts, you have all your pieces in place. So when you put your final illustration down to work, you already know what you're going to do. So your thinking is all done, and then you just have to sit and think. Okay? So the prompts we have now are loud, quiet, and secret. Okay. Now I said I want you to think conceptually. So do not go the way, or try not to go the way that your previous batchmates did. Okay. So when we say loud, I do not want you literally drawing a screaming person. Okay. Or if you do that, put in a conceptual twist to it. You should put a second beat to it, a second meaning attached. Okay. Same thing for quiet and secret. Okay. So what I did for this was, okay, 1 second. exactly. So I wanted kind of to, all of you to think of it in a way that, oh, what if this is a magazine? Just give me a moment, please. Just need to plug in my laptop. Okay. Um, so think of it as like, going on a magazine cover. One of those really cool indie magazines you have that don't have a lot of text on it. So your illustration can be the focus, okay? But the idea is that your illustration should be loud, quiet, or secret without it having to be there. Yeah. Okay? So I just made these little templates for you guys. Okay. So if at the end you want to mock up your illustrations, okay, or like a New Yorker cover, sure, if you want to kind of, tie in the masthead with the illustration, you can work with those. They're all in a drive folder, and I'll share a link. I see, did you make a group yet? Or add me to the group on WhatsApp?
Yeah, ma'am, I did. I'll add you.
Okay, so I can just put a link to my drive there, right? To the folder, so you can access that. So I'll put those there, and you can access those if you want to use them. Uh, these are like little templates I made for the thumbnails. Okay, they are like approximately 2 by 3 inches, and they have a little board there. Obviously, if you have a printer, you can just print these out and print it like or draw starting with thumbnailing on. These are box here for writing notes, whatever. I'll put them in as well. If you want, so I'll also put in a blank one, so you can just work on that if you want. Otherwise, sketchbook, paper, whatever you're using, you want to do your initial sketches, just draw a grid and start working from it. Okay? So in my sketchbook, when I want to sketch anything mostly, I always keep like a few pages drawn with like grids, so I can immediately start drawing in proportion. Okay? Again, this is not a compulsion. Yeah, it's not a compulsion to actually use whatever format you're in that I'm giving with the word. Okay, this is just if you want to do it. Of course, I feel it would be easier if you're going from your previous efforts. That's just working on the illustration without having to worry about the text right now. This may be better, but I leave it up to you. Yeah? Okay, does anyone have any questions so far? Anyone? About the assignment, about what I've related so far, any?
Ma'am, so out of the three words, we can choose any or you'll assign us the
No, I'll be assigning the words. Okay, so I'll get back to you on things in a little bit. I just put them in the chat here. Okay, to everyone, so you have them there. Um, and what we're gonna do is, so okay, so I will get these 5 minutes to do that. This is guys can just like take a presentation after another, and I'll just start putting the prompts there. So once you have a prompt, you can start researching, referencing, whatever. The PDF is also available. Just send you link to the drive. So The presentation PDF is also in there. So if you want to go through it, and if you feel you have any questions after, that's fine too. So you just do that first. Okay, so I just posted a link in the group. If anybody wants to, just make sure that it has can access stuff, can you please let me know? Okay, someone just, I'm not going to have the CR do everything. Some of you do need to take the initiative. Just because he's the CR doesn't mean he has to be responsible. Okay? And for those of you who actually don't speak up and are very shy, these are little things that you can actually do and just speak up. Guys, anyone? Come on, just click on the link I posted in chat and tell me if you can access it.
Yes, ma'am, I can.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good. See, that wasn't hard. Okay. Okay, I don't want you guys leaving yet. Okay, you can just, kind of do your own thing for the next 5 minutes, and I'll get back to you with the prompts. And once you have those, like I said, start doing the whole process, the strategy that we just showed you, that was best. Just start doing that and irrigation. And I really do want to see some thumbnails after break. But I'm going to give you guys more time, so we meet around, so we'll break at 12:30, okay? Till then, you guys start working in class. You can ask me whatever questions you have. We break at 12:30, we meet back at 2, okay? And then we work in class from 2 to 3, and we will discuss things at 3, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna get back to you in 5 minutes. Okay, so I think all of you have your prompts. Did I miss out anyone? No, right? Okay. So you guys can start working. Okay. Stay in class. Okay. I'm just going to be on mute for a bit. But if I don't respond, just leave the query in chat. Okay. And we will break at 12:30. So that is when you can leave the meeting. Okay? Again, this is being recorded, so you cannot leave before that. We're still working in class. If anybody has any questions, let me know. I will probably be away from the keyboard for like 5 minutes.
Oh, ठीक है जी